Injury risk is still a fear for many older adults and probably always will be, at least in our lifetime. They already feel vulnerable. They're feeling aches and pains due to not, I would say, to aging, but due to diet or lifestyle, much more than aging itself. It's just compounding effects that can be true of aging if diet and lifestyle aren't on track. Have you ever considered injury risk could actually be your niche? That there are enough adults who fear injury risk or who've been injured that you could develop an entire profitable and sustainable business on that very demographic with that as your marketing basis. What an idea, right? I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to She Means Fitness Business. It's a division of my businesses under Voice for Fitness. And here at Voice for Fitness, we know that you probably want to be a very inspirational example to other midlife women. And in order to do that, we all need a profitable and health and fitness coaching business, because profit means we've got money, and you don't have to love money. And I know if your relationship with it is, that just makes me cringe. Use it for good. Give it away. Give it to charity. But if you have money, you have power. You can choose how you use it, right? The problem for most of us, and when you're getting started, this is true for you, is a lack of clients or a lack of revenue because you may be charging too little. And I believe you deserve consistent, dependable revenue from clients that you love. And this day and age, it's extremely possible. But what I hear from so many women who are starting in health coaching or in fitness, they'll say, there's so many of us. How do I get more clients? Well, you have to start not trying to be anybody else, no influencer. And I get it. I understand. You've got the tools, you've got the heart to help, and you can't. I was there not all that long ago when I started over. And it's why I coach fitness and health pros internationally. And it's an easy 3-step process. But before you book a call with me, what I want you to do is get the Health and Fitness Professionals Business Scorecard. I made it so you can go through and look in about 2 minutes at where the holes are in developing your business. So you can start, either dig right in, roll your sleeves up, or get help and support and know where you need it. So if you feel like your dream's slipping away while other less qualified and less heart-centered coaches are making sales, getting more clients, I want you to start increasing your revenue. You can do that by at least $5,000 a month in 90 days. I promise you, I've seen it happen. We do it over and over again. If you're already there, should be able to increase your revenue by at least 25% by the end of the year. If you're struggling, let's let that struggle stop. My guest today. So first of all, let me ask you a couple questions before I introduce the fitness doctor, Robbie Stahl. Are you aware 87% of all exercisers get injured while exercising? And there's no blame here on the exercise programming that you're doing or your ability to cue and talk about skill and position and start and stop. But there are some underlying things. That alone may scare you from wanting to train clients. But when you listen to Robbie's confident bio, you'll understand the difference between passion and conviction, going all in what you do and what you know and how to help unapologetically. You'll hear Robbie's full bio at actually the full episode I'm going to link to at the Flipping 50 podcast. So rather than duplicate content, we're going to go right into the green room, the screen room, that this here are only like questions for fitness pros and health coaches talking about how did Robbie get started? Because he's doing very well and he's got this expensive business, but he didn't start with that. No one does. Where do you start? Where do you actually find your voice? So we're going to link to Robbie's full bio at our podcast in the show notes, and I'll send you right over there. But I want to give you this behind the curtain talk where we talk about, after 20 years of training and extensive research, experimentation, he mastered the science of healing and bulletproofing the body with the power of exercise. And you can find a niche that you bring on this strong voice that you will hear. One of Robbie's claim to fame is a 100% success rate for fixing shoulder function in his clients who were told surgery is the only answer. Look, a rumor like that about you alone is enough to fill your personal training schedule or your health coaching business for the rest of your days. But Robbie started like anybody else, without clients, without education, without certification. And I'll ask him how he got where he is now. Let's get started in this episode. Don't forget, stay tuned to the end. We're going to share some juicy ways you can actually watch Robbie in action, and you can also listen to the podcast episode. But I think you're going to want to take another step and watch him doing a 5-day fix. We all know we need some kind of client attractor. We need to bring them into kind of the fold and let them get a sample of what it's like to work with us. And you'll see it in action, see how well it works. And that kind of experience, you feeling like, okay, I'm watching from a bigger picture. What is he doing that is helping bring him his ideal clients, or maybe repel the ones who are not right for it? You'll see that. And let's talk to him and find out how he birthed the business that he now enjoys. Hey, Robbie, thank you so much for being here. First of all, I know I like to double dip, and sometimes we get the front page of story on Flipping 50, but then coming over here for our health and fitness pros to give them a behind the scenes look at, like, how did you build this business? So I want to ask this, like, injury risk and really kind of playing on the people are afraid of injury, and obviously it becomes a key thing. How did that become your focus, your niche?
Wow. Well, I have a very deep answer because it's the truth.
Okay.
I actually feel very strongly that I feel, first of all, I feel very fortunate, and I'm very grateful to God, and I'm very grateful to the universe, because I feel that I spiritually connected with helping humans have an optimally functioning body and coming to earth. As crazy as that might sound, or as interesting as that might sound for some individuals, that's actually honestly what I believe. And now for this actual things that happened in my life. As young as 8 years old, I wanted to go to the gym with my mom and my 7 years older sister. She was 7 years older than me at the time. She would go to the gym frequently. And I would basically beg them to go to the gym. And they had rules. You couldn't work at the gym. I'd go to the gym just to stay in daycare. I had a supernatural inclination for it. I read my first exercise physiology textbook from university level when I was 12 years old. I had a natural major passion, very, very unusual and unique, I realize. And I was just a OCD basically about studying biology and physiology and the endocrine system and all these things. I trained all my athlete friends. The girls came to me in school to develop their legs and their butt. And then I got into like performance athletics. I went to school to be a physical therapist. And then I realized, you know what, I really want to focus in fitness. But that's kind of like, that was basically my early track record is those things. And it was just supernatural. I just had this huge passion from it from a extremely young age.
Tell me about, I think this. So this is a very backhanded, and I'll try to make it a little forefront, but this is a compliment. I mean, you are so good at teaching. I think I've seen you do physical teaching on camera, and I've also heard you on a podcast break down complex terms. In fact, to all of our listeners who want to hear it, you'll hear a link to that Flipping 50 podcast that we just did. And I want you to listen to that, but hear how he really breaks it down. You're a great teacher, Robbie. And that is a unique skill. There are a lot of trainers who are out there who would say, I'm very passionate about this. This is my passion. And they love fitness. However, there's a gap maybe between what they can relay and the knowledge they have and how they can help somebody else kind of simulate that knowledge. How'd you get where you are? Was that also intuitive and just natural, or did you work at it?
Um, well, I think there's some genes there. Absolutely. I have some significant line of university professors and teachers in my family. And so I feel pretty strongly that's definitely in the genes. Also, I was very fortunate to have a wonderful guru in speaking. His name is Joel Weldon, and he was my actual personal client who I personally worked with for about 18 years. And then he went on to work with my team members who worked for me. Um, and he's like one of my best friends now. And so I had 18 years of 3 times a week sessions with one of the best speech coaches in the entire country. So Joel
Wow.
Weldon is like a Golden Gavel recipient. He trains a lot of very high level CEOs and others who, their job is speaking. And so I'm fortunate enough to have him as a guru, and I have to give some speaking credit to him because it truly helped me.
That's amazing. What did you I mean, when you look back and say, okay, here's how I started, and obviously you got a very young start and maybe saw yourself doing this, like creating the vision when you were young, had to be helpful. What, because we all have, what mistakes have you made along the way? And that sometimes probably propel us forward, but where would you say you had some real bloopers along the way?
Well, I guess the most profound bloopers I could share with you is the extremely intense training I did when I was younger, which is not the reason, but one of the reasons why I'm not anti-intense training at all, okay? Because there's tremendous benefits intense training done right. But what happened is when I was younger, I did very intense training. I mean, I had a decade where the only thing I cared about was bigger, stronger, bigger, stronger, bigger, stronger. And so every science and every detail and everything about bigger, stronger, right? And so I learned a lot about the positive benefits of that. And I learned a lot about the negative benefits of that. And another big thing is looking around the gym and seeing like the more fit people got, usually the more broken and in pain and stiffness and dysfunction they got. And so those bloopers, both in my own training and in others, led me to think like, man, even though I had trained some really amazing athletes and some championship level physique athletes and bodybuilders, and I took people from like 120 pounds to like little guys that had no business on a magazine cover to like 180-pound, state champion bodybuilder winner. I did a lot of that, and there's negative effects on the body, honestly. And I learned like, man, just building bigger biceps is definitely not why I want to be in fitness. There's so much more to this thing for health, vitality, quality of life, and I can do so much more helping people, which led me into a quest for what I now call biomechanical optimization, which is a term that I coined for optimizing the mechanics of your body. And there's a tremendous science behind that. I'll leave it on that. But my bloopers were just intense training and seeing others doing intense training and in the negatives that could create.
Love that. Okay, so at this point, I know your wife, Patricia, and everybody, I'm not going to have you tell this story, but you got to go listen to the love story that is there. But I know she's on your team, but you also sound like you have a lot of other people on your team. Who did you hire first? How many are on your team now? What does that look like for you at the Fitness Doctor?
So we have our super elite doctor educational leadership creation team, which consists of Dr. Trent Nestler he's in the sports medicine doctor and doctor of physical therapy world, he's very famous. He doesn't have a million hits on YouTube. He's not a professional marketer. He's the real deal. Like he's legitimately, he's the guy that's publishing research and knows everybody in the motor learning biomechanical field. He is Dr. Andrews, the number one orthopedic surgeon in the country, does all the multi-million dollar athlete surgeries. He's also the most published researcher in the country. So Dr. Trent Nessler is Dr. Andrews' go-to guy. Dr. Nessler, or Trent, actually happens to be a really good friend of mine, fortunately. And he's on our team for design and creation of our training structure and systems. And he's had a big part in the way we do exercise. Then I have another individual named Dr. Justin. Dr. Justin works with multi-million dollar athletes, gets flown all around the country to develop their training and stuff as they go into the combine and all the stuff professional athletes do. Of course, our thing is over the age of 50. So, this is kind of a loaded answer, but before we move forward, my thing was, people over the age of 50, they really lack a lot of science in fitness developed for them, because all the science is made for like athletes and people that are really pushing their body to extreme. And I'm like, well, the people who stand to gain the most from fitness is actually those over the age of 50. Those are the people that stand to gain the most, right? So, and this leads into the team answer as well. So my thought was like, man, like when I talk to people that are in their 70s, 80s, they're, some of them will be like, oh, I'm 70, 80. I don't need that fitness stuff. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
You're like, no, my friend, you're exactly the person who needs a lot of help in that area, actually, unless your goal is to die. And then I'm with you.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Total sense. And so, I mean, if that's your choice, it's your life. Okay, I respect you. But otherwise, that's a crazy answer. And so, but who do you turn to, right? Who do you turn to? And I think you do a wonderful, beautiful job with the ladies over the age of 50. You have an amazing system. Absolutely love it. But what else? What about the mechanics and the whole therapeutic protocols and all that stuff? And the other big thing I saw was that, okay, so when you go to fitness, typically you get broken. Like trainers beat the crap out of you. And then when you go to therapists, it's like all easy and like nursing and like, you're injured and like, okay, so you go to fitness and get broke and go to therapist to get fixed and go trainer to get, and so I'm like, this doesn't work. So what I did is I took all the therapists and I put them in fitness. So my entire team I have about 10 physical therapists on my team right now. They're all physical therapists. Some of them are also exercise physiologists. So we do fitness training with physical therapist oversight. So then that creates a therapeutic fitness protocol. And then we apply it in anti-aging to those over the age of 50. Then we have some marketers and some other support staff, but that's basically our team.
Love it. Okay. So love that. What would you say to inexperienced you? What advice would you give to somebody who's just thinking, Chase, you're blowing me away here. And there is that tendency for somebody who's just starting out to think, oh my gosh, you're so much further ahead, and that makes them feel like I'm so far behind, like I'll never be there. So with that kind of frame of mind, what advice would you give to younger you?
Yes, things take a while. Honestly, things take like, my goals that I had that I wanted to be when I was 30, they weren't reached. They're being reached now, but it took like another 12, 13 years further than like what I thought it might be, So, but it's kind of hard to say because I always had this thought process that, you know what, I'm going to always be in fitness and it's going to get better and better and better. And all I have to do is go up. So I live my life by the principle of Kanai, which is constant, never ending improvement. So what I recommend you do is don't pick what you're excited today. What I did, what I think I could really help you with the direction of your question and to help you, the listener, as a professional, write down the things you really want to achieve in your career. Like if money didn't matter, right? What are the things that you really want to achieve in your career if money didn't matter? Because you can make money with anything, quite honestly. Like you could make money, honestly, these days, even with basket weaving, if you became an amazing marketer at selling those, right? You can become like successful money-wise in anything. But it needs to be like, it's not going to be easy. And it absolutely was not easy for me. I blood, sweat, and tears, let me tell you. But so what I encourage you is, what is your purpose that's big enough that it's going to keep you moving forward? Here's a very simple, tactile way to figure that out. Today, when you listen to this podcast, I want you to write down what it is you really want for your career. What is your purpose-driven things that you want to have? Set it aside. Next week, do it again. Set it aside. Next week, do it again. Set it aside. Next month, do it again. Set it aside. Over a 3-month time period, you're going to know what you want. Why do it repeatedly? Because we're emotional humans and you might just be in the moment. So to remove the emotional equation and see what the common denominators were over those repeats of what you really want, that's going to give you the answer. Now you know the answer. Now never stop improving with what those objectives are. Just make sure quarter by quarter you make improvements. And that's all I've done. Every quarter, I make dang sure that I have some improvements in what we do, both from the operational musculoskeletal health system side and also from our marketing side.
Love that. That was a great answer. Okay. So we're going to let them listen to kind of the full description of Flipping 50, but you are running a 5-day fix. I mean, obviously, if somebody wants to like peer in and say, this is what he does, this is a part of his funnel leading people to him or potentially repelling the people for whom his programs are not right, what could trainers and health coaches learn from attending?
We are going to learn a ton about, and actually to also answer this question, it's very common for us to get professionals as our clients. So we have we call our clients VIPs. It's very common for other fitness and yoga and you name it type of fitness related professionals to become VIPs. But the thing that you're going to learn is you're going to learn how to go through the body from toe to head and analyze everything, all the most important stuff, over a 5-day event, and how to do exercises and such that help realign the body and keep the human body away from mechanical breakdown as it's pushed through fitness systems that are going to create more fitness, more health, more results. So I teach you some biomechanical protocols to optimize fitness functionality and create what I call biomechanical optimization. I teach this in a 5-day event. It's totally free, and Deborah can provide you the link.
That is awesome. Okay. So, a little homework for all of you who are listening for either your personal self, but definitely for your business self, because there is so much wealth here. And I want you to always listen to these podcasts as well as to anything on Flipping 50 on the meta level. So, yes, we want you to get the nuance about mechanics, about teaching it, about doing it for yourself, or about hormones, if that happens to be the topic. But I'd love for you to get, do you hear how I'm breaking it down for the listener? Because when you're listening with both tuned in, you as a pro who also attract your niche and to your personality get the edge, because nobody can be you. We all may be talking about hormones, but nobody can be you. Robbie, thanks so much for being here.
Can I add one more thing for you?
Yeah, please.
So one thing that's going to really help you is you don't need to be Robbie Stahl and you don't need to be Deborah Atkinson. You need to be you. So like one of the big things I learned from Joel and speakers is there's speakers, for example, who are, for example, Earl Nightingale, right? You got to have some years on you to probably know who Earl Nightingale is, but he's the individual that started He's started the movement of the whole like law of attraction and personal development industry. He's the one that started The Secret, the Secret program that came out again like 20 years ago. He's
Yep.
the originator of that. Look up on YouTube, The Strangest Secret. It's good for you to listen to. Anyway, the point being, Earl Nightingale is a very boring speaker. But what he had to say was super powerful. So he had an amazing attraction to many humans, and it was amazingly successful. You don't need to be anybody else but yourself. You just need to be the best version of you that you can possibly be, and that'll make you successful. If you know your purpose and you become the best version of you, promise you're going to have optimal results.
So awesome. Love that. All right. Thanks. Great place to end. Okay, listeners, what are you waiting for? The world needs us right now more than ever. And the show notes for today for this short one will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/building your health business. And from there, you will get all the links, not only to connect with Robbie, attend the Full Body Fix, and listen to the full-blown episode at Flipping 50. So there's a lot of walks or workouts tucked right in there for you, and you're welcome.